Good evening and welcome to Horror Historian. My name is Amanda and tonight we'll be discussing the 2012 psychological horror film Berberian Sound Studio. Now, the first time that I heard this, I kind of thought of a Serbian film and I was a little worried, but this has absolutely nothing to do with Serbian film. It's not gory at all. Like, you barely see anything. You don't see anything now that I'm thinking of it. The movie was directed by Peter Strickland, who I have not seen his other work before. I'm a little interested now, though, I'm not gonna lie. He is most known for The Duke of Burgundy and In Fabric. Also, Bjork, Biophilia Live. The stars are Toby Jones and Fatma Mohammed. Toby Jones is most known for being the voice of Dobby in the Harry Potter franchise. He is also known for Armin Zola in the Captain America movies. He is also known for Frost Nixon, The Mist, and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Fatma Mohammed is a Romanian actress, and she has been in each of Strickland's movies. All five that he has directed, she has been a part of. The movie opens with Gilderoy, a British sound engineer, landing in Italy. He is making his way to the Berberian film studio where he believes that he's going to be working on a film about horses. But based on the screams that we hear the second that he enters the building, this isn't a horse movie. Gilderoy is going to be working on a Giallo splatterfest. It is not the movie that he thought he was going to be working on, although in his defense, the movie is called The Equestrian Vortex. He is tentatively prepared to tackle the situation. That's a good way to describe Gilderoy at this point. He's tentative. He is working pretty closely with producer of the movie, Francesco. The guy is a total ass and seems to find it acceptable to harass and abuse those that work for him. He finds it pretty easy to diminish and mock Gilderoy, and the guy is a pretty easy victim. The director is Santini, and he refuses to admit that they are making a horror movie. He is outright offended at the suggestion that they are making a horror movie, even though the movie that they're making has all the trademark pieces of a Giallo horror movie. Although the women in this movie are certainly more background characters than anything else, they're definitely worth mentioning. Sylvia is the main actress of the film, and she spends a lot of time with Gilderoy. She really gets to know him, and she's really the only person that bothers to do that. She's also the one that eventually encourages Gilderoy to stand up for himself. The secretary of Berberian is a woman named Victoria, and she gets right under Gilderoy's skin. She keeps telling him that the flight reimbursement is not her department. She doesn't pay much attention to him, and in general is pretty cold. It's a running plot point through the movie that he is trying to get his money back, to the point where it's also something that Francesco throws in his face when he accuses him of only being in this for the money. We never see what they are working on, though. We only see the movie from behind the scenes, what's being created while Gilderoy focuses nervously on the screen, trying to time up the sound of mutilation with the gore that's appearing on the screen. In a way, I think all of the men in the studio start to see the women as less than. They focus so much on cutting up a regular lettuce in time with mutilation. If you're wondering why I'm not explaining every single thing that happens on screen, it's because this movie is a love letter to Giallo films. There's a lot happening, but it's not necessarily explained by what's happening on the screen. It's it's less action and more subtext. That's probably not the right word, but it's what I'm going with. Gilderoy has a genuine talent for finding ways to make the sounds that he's looking to make. It's something like a magic trick, something he can pull out to entertain Francesco and the others during a brief power outage, but their attention is very much fleeting. Admittedly, it doesn't take long for Gilderoy to start showing cracks. It's a mixture of feeling constantly like an outsider with everyone in the studio and the things that he has to see on the screen, the noises that he has to imagine how to make. Gilderoy starts to lose it. He's disturbed by the work that he has been doing and has been bullied into continuing the job. He tried to gracefully bow out, but was immediately guilted into staying. They can't afford to have him escape, and that is the way that is phrased by Francesco. And then he's fed bans by Santini in a very weird way. No one was really consenting to that. Late one night, Gilderoy finds Sylvia having a breakdown and offers her the sound booth so that she can release some of that frustration. It's while she's in the sound booth that she reveals that she has been sexually assaulted by the director Santini. She was filled with rage, and Gilderoy somewhat subtly encourages her to go apeshit. Sylvia destroys the reels that she can get her hands on. Gilderoy pretends to be totally innocent and unaware of what happened when Francesco finds out. Sylvia is replaceable, though. Welcome, Elise. It's a little before the real reveal of the assault that Gilderoy finally stood up to himself to try and get his damned reimbursement. He was encouraged by Sylvia, who said he needed to be more Italian and more aggressive to get what he wanted. Except, he can't get what he wants. The flight that he had spent the entire movie desperately seeking reimbursement for didn't happen. This leads to him just straight sliding into insanity, but in a way that feels like
it's more a way that Gilderoy is trapped there. He can't just leave because how did he even get there?
The most obvious change to Gilderoy's delusion is that he speaks Italian in this when he's deluded. Something that had cut him off from the rest of the crew because he doesn't speak Italian and he feels like an outsider. It's like he's watching an Italian version of his life instead of watching the horror movie that they are making.
Gilderoy isn't quite as attached to the studio since Sylvia's departure. It's like he's gotten a grasp of the situation that he has ended up in, who he is working for. He already didn't like Santini and Francesco, but it just has gotten worse when learning they're predators. Maybe they should have let him leave when it was clear he was uncomfortable with working on a horror movie. The actress that was hired to replace Sylvia is inside the sound booth, and she's struggling to create the screams that they're looking for. She's screaming, but it's just like the same thing over and over again, just there's nothing behind it. Nowhere near what Gilderoy and Francesco are looking for. I think it was the subtle moments that Gilderoy noticed with Santini and Francesco that pushed him over the edge. They were just hanging around her a bit too much, and she was the subject of too much interest. Gilderoy was seeing the start of the abuse beginning, and I think that's why he does what he does.
Gilderoy, who had been extremely passive the entire movie, offers to torture the woman with a high pitched sound. It was really originally questioned by Francesco as a way to find out how to make her make a real scream.
I was shocked when Gilderoy actually started to do it. Instead of screaming, she throws the headphones down and runs from the studio. Not quite what Francesco was looking for, but Gilderoy saved her from the kind of experience that Sylvia had. Gilderoy may not have been strong enough to actually stand up for himself and the actress, but he's able to manipulate the situation for his own results. The movie ends with Gilderoy disassociating once again. The power has gone off and a movie projector turns on, flickering through the darkness. Gilderoy is watching, and then he disappears into the film.
This is a brilliant little movie, and if you like giallo films, you're probably going to enjoy this at least a little bit. Toby Jones really proves how good of an actor he is. One of so many character actors that do not get the proper amount of recognition because everything I've seen him in, he's been fantastic. So shout out to him. I didn't even know he was British until I watched this. I straight up, I am. Yep, I didn't know. I thought he was American.
Sound in this movie is absolutely phenomenal. They really made sure that they had their ducks in a row for a movie they were going to have based around a sound studio. This is a love letter to a very unglamorous part of movie making, which does sometimes involve doing some mad chopping of lettuce and having to get really creative. No one dies. The terror entirely comes from the mind of a man that is not really equipped to handle the harsh Italian sound studio that he had ended up in. Just some really creepy dudes hanging out in the studio. I probably wouldn't describe this as a movie to show to a newbie to the horror genre. Um, it's an odd one.
Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed. I don't feel like I have to say would I survive this because nobody died. I'd survive because there's no threat of death. It's just Italians.